A quote here from Mari Smith, who's a bit of a Facebook marketing expert and has been for a very long time. Over 21 billion videos are watched on Facebook alone each and every day. What makes you think that your messy talking head video is going to make a dent in that? It's a bit of a wake-up call because we just tend to go, oh, I'm just going to go on Facebook Live and just talk. Unfortunately, whilst that may initially get you a really good audience of people who are following you to begin with, it's not something you can sustainably do day after day after day because your audience, number one, will get bored of it. Number two, you'll get bored of it. Number three, when you notice that nothing's happening with it, you're just going to stop doing it altogether. What we're going to cover today is a face-to-camera explainer video. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're actually going to make one live. I actually put one on my Clickstarter page just a little bit earlier this morning that I made in about a minute and a half on Canva. We're going to look at how to turn static graphics into video. We'll look at making of a TV ad and what you've got to do with that. And then also how to make some fun reels and TikToks and what the process is on that. Hopefully we'll get through it all. If we don't, it doesn't matter because all these things that we're doing today all are related. They're all things that are able to be connected to each other. This is brought to you by Business Station and the Digital Solutions Program, part of the Australian Government's initiative for small businesses. Thank you very much for the funding. And you'll see this later on YouTube through the Business Station channel and my own one under my name, Dante St. James. Very quickly, though, a bit about me. My business is a Clickstarter, which is a digital marketing agency for regional Australia. I've got dantestjames.com, which is all about my own coaching that I do outside of the Digital Solutions Program, and Cellular One, which is a recent acquisition I made of a very old brand that used to be a mobile phone reseller. So I do resell mobile phones, some really great deals in there, by the way, and NBN as well. My education through University of New South Wales, TAFE, Chartered Institute of Marketing, and I work with Facebook Australia's Boost program, which is part of, there's 5 of us in Australia, and we go around Australia training large groups of people and not-for-profits and businesses on how to get the most out of Facebook's tools. Also partnering with Google, the Northern Territory government in October, and the NICE program in the Northern Territory as well, which is where I happen to be based. So a little bit about online video before we get too underway with it. I want you to know that when it comes to online video, that there's only really a few shapes that count. We're not talking about you having to go down the path of having to create 1,000 different shapes and ratios of video. You really only need 4 of those. The first one being the square. This is the obvious one. This is the one that I guess Instagram made famous for us. And because it fits just so perfectly on every single device, it's also the format that seems to be the most engaging on feeds. It's really easy to do. Most phones these days have a square video capture setting. And if you're doing it in something like Instagram, you can just download that to your phone and then post it to any other thing, and it'll look great. It'll look safe in most cases. This is the one that most people are doing, and probably the one you're going to do most of. Next up is the landscape. This is the same as TV, not the same as the cinema. Cinema is a much wider ratio, but TV, the widescreen TV, 16:9 ratio, it works on big screens, laptop computers, tablets when they're turned sideways. And yet phones when they're turned sideways as well happens to be a 16:9 ratio. It's not so great on mobiles because not everyone walks around with their phones turned on the side just so they can watch a video. Unless maybe it's something like YouTube. Sometimes in YouTube, we will watch that because it kind of forces it to go full screen on the side. So you'll turn it over and be able to see it from there. So landscape video, not so great on mobiles, but really good on desktops. Then you've got the vertical 9:16, sorry. And this is a full screen on mobile. It's a full screen takeover. And it is the most engaging you'll get on a mobile phone. It's sort of like the thing from Snapchat with stories, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, LinkedIn stories, YouTube shorts. Everyone's got their version of it now. It's for short format video that you want to watch on the go. This is full screen, so it suits things like TikTok and Instagram Reels, which are 100% made for the 9:16 ratio. You cannot do square video or landscape video on TikTok or Reels because it just looks stupid and it just won't work. And TikTok doesn't even allow it. You have to do it in a vertical format. This one, though, is one that most people don't know about, which is the 4:5 ratio, which is, now, so when I say 4:5 ratio, imagine that is 400 by 500 or 800 by 1000 in terms of the size of it. Now, Canva has presets for all of these, so it doesn't really matter whether you don't need to remember each of these ratios, just know that Canva's already got them in there. So this is used in the Facebook and Instagram feed and not much elsewhere. It fits really good in Facebook and Instagram on primarily the mobile, but also in the desktop environment. It looks pretty good. In the desktop, though, I guess people expect to see something which is landscape or square. It takes up a lot of real estate on the screen. But 4 to 5 also works. Now, considering that well over 85% of all viewing on Facebook these days happens on a mobile phone, maybe making specific video for desktops isn't really the direction you need to go in. Now, a little thing you need to know about video is you've got about 3 seconds, even less these days, to get attention on a social media feed. Now, this is common all over the web. It's not just social media. It's also websites, for instance. So there's usually a guideline that goes, if your website takes 7 seconds to load, well, then it's pretty slow. 5 seconds, you're spot on. That's what people want. But these days, it's more like 3 seconds. 3 seconds to load a website. So I've been working tirelessly on my websites to make them load in under 3 seconds. And that really helps me with my search engine optimization. But when it comes to attention, then you've got less than 3 seconds to get that attention. So how do you do that? How do you get attention? You do it through basically having motion, because motion draws the eye. When people see things move, they take notice. Plus, introduce your brand early in the video. Now, I'm not talking about putting a big fat logo in the middle of the screen and all that. That's a waste of screen space. And also it does not make that your logo won't get attention. So you still need to introduce the brand early, but not necessarily on a giant logo. It could be a logo on a mug. It could be you actually mentioning the brand. It could be you wearing the t-shirt or the work shirt that you've got. The idea is there, you draw attention with motion, and then you introduce the brand and the point really quickly. And you might have 60 seconds to do your video, but in that first 5 to 10 seconds, you have to draw the eye, introduce your brand, and get to the point. Doesn't give you a lot of time for those of us who are over explainers of things. So if you can do that, and there's ways to do it, it's just something as simple as there's a swirling graphic, like colorful graphic or motion or video that gets attention. You come up on the video with your brand on your shirt and you're saying, something which is going to immediately get to the point of what you're saying. So if you're trying to sell, let's just say antibacterial hand gel. So you're trying to sell hand sanitizer. You actually bring it to the point to say, hand sanitizer these days dries out your hands. It's not helping anyone to keep nice hands. So what we do is we add this extra ingredient called aloe vera that makes it nice. So you get straight to the point, all within 10 seconds. Then you can go into more detail about what you're talking about, but ultimately you need to end with some sort of call to action. Now, on some ad formats, I think is the word I was looking for, ad formats in, say, Facebook, they give you little calls to action, but having a call to action such as you actually speaking a call to action or having an overlay on your screen, on your graphics that has a call to action, say, buy now, shop now, learn more, download menu, sign up, any of those kind of call to actions should be included in any sort of promotional or business oriented video on any platform, really. So whether you're sending it like LinkedIn, so your motion will draw the eye, you'll introduce, I am so-and-so from this company. So you've introduced the brand, and then get to the point, which is instead of you harping on about how great your company is saying, if you've ever wanted to solve this problem with your business, well, that's what we do. So you immediately got to the point, you immediately covered off what you do and who it's for. It's for people looking for that. I would be very careful to make video for the person who's watching it, not video for your own entertainment. Now, this is not a way of saying, hey, don't make videos that you like. It's more of a case of remember that you are not your target audience. You may sell something that you like and you believe in, but you're not selling it to yourself. You're selling it to other people. So you've got to remember that they may see things differently. They may speak a different language. They may speak or have a different way of saying and receiving things. If you've ever read the book about the 5 love languages, you understand that some people are just not word people. Some people are gesture people. So get the idea of who your person is. Do some work on understanding who your client avatar is or your customer persona is. There's lots of different words for it. To understand what it is they are and who they are. So if they're people who like going fishing, talk talk like people who are going fishing. If they are people who like the finer things in life, talk like people who like the finer things in life. Don't try to enforce your behavior and your things over who that person is. And then I also say that make the video for the platform it'll be appearing on. So if you're making YouTube, that has to be a landscape video. That's how YouTube works. If you're making a TikTok or an Instagram reel, they're in the format that's vertical, that 9:16, that 9:16 ratio. So make sure the video you're making fits that platform, fits the feel of that platform even. If you've ever sat there and watched TikTok, it's not about long lingering shots. It's about motion, movement, and quick, short, sharp, instant gratification. So your video on TikTok would need to be that, as well as Instagram Reels. But if you're creating stories on Facebook and Instagram or LinkedIn, then it's a bit different. If you're creating a longer form video to talk about something on LinkedIn as an explainer, that will be different again. So just remember, you've got some maximums to work with. So you'll take some time to know how long a video on LinkedIn can be, how long a video on something else can be. So you just know what you're doing and you know who you're doing it for. So first of all, take a quick sip of water. All right, so we're going to make a 2-camera explainer video. So a 2-camera explainer video contains a few things. It contains creating a design, which we're going to do live as a video. You're going to then record yourself. Well, I'll record myself in this case. We'll then trim the video and then expand it out to screen. This will all make sense when we do it. Going to add some overlays and stickers, add some music, adjust the volume so it sounds right, and then we download it. So I'll just quickly get out of this screen and get into a new version of Canva so we can start from scratch. So we go to Canva. Hopefully you are still seeing this on your screen. Try and make it a little bit bigger. There we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a design, and I'm going to put in video. So I'm going to create, in this case, it's going to be something which is going to sit, say, on a Facebook feed. So look at that Facebook video, 1080 by 1080. Sounds good to me. Now, in amongst all this, I've got a big square to work with, and you'll see down the bottom now, I've got a timeline. Because I've created video, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to call this Facebook video test. Now, in amongst all this, we can then add our own video to camera. So I'm going to look at my camera and do this. So I do need to turn on my camera again, which I thought I had turned off. There we go. I had. So I'm back on here with my bright zebra shirt and my flag in the background. If I pop over to uploads on the left, I've now got the option to either upload media or record myself. There's some other options there to where you upload, but I'm going to record myself. And what record myself is going to do, I've already allowed my camera and my microphone to come through. So you can see how that's appearing there. So I can see whether that's bright enough, whether I need to go a bit brighter again. But to me, that's okay. I'm going to work with that. I could use a brighter ring light if I really wanted to bring in a lot more light. But for now, this will do. So I'm going to use my stream webcam, which I'm also using to talk to you right now. And I'm going to use my filtered microphone, which is called Crisp, which removes all the background noise, basically. It removes the traffic noise outside and the construction site that's just across the road from me and the noisy air conditioner. So it's a nice and clear recording. So I'm going to start recording now. It'll count me in. Hi, I'm Dante St. James. I hope you'll join me for my online sales class, which is all about people who work in retail, in hospitality, in food and beverage, and in travel kind of industries. It's going to be especially made for you so you can understand the process of sales online for your industry. It's this Thursday at 12 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. If you're in WA, that's going to be at 10:30, and in Queensland, it'll be at 12:30. I hope to see you there. So I'll then end that recording and I'll save it and go back to my editing. So what it's going to do now is they're going to give me that in here to be able to use. So I've now got this. Hi, I'm Dante St. James. I hope you join me for my not quite sure if you can hear that through my microphone, but it's recorded that. It's nice and clear, but it's of course in the wrong shape. So what I need to do is pull it out to fit the shape that I'm working with. So pull it out here, pull it out here. So it fills my screen and then bring it to the middle so that I can have it. Oh, that's a really bad, isn't it terrible? The thumbnails I give you are always terrible ones. That one's a nice smiley one. So at the end, I would have, let's go forward to the end, and you'll see that I've got that part where I had to look away to be able to, I'm just going to turn down my volume, where I need to look away to stop the recording. So you'll see it here. No, back here. Come on. 30. I hope to see you there. And then so at the hope to see you there is the end, I want to trim the rest off. So I'm just going to take the end here and trim it down to there. So it finishes with me with my smile, but not looking up to the top of the screen where I needed to stop the recording. Now I've got this in place, I can then add all sorts of other elements. So I'm going to add is an overlay that I need to add certain things that are going to be for the government program I'm working with. So let's just add a box down here. I'm going to make it white because I need to fill that with some logos. So this could be a lot longer. You don't have to make it really short one like this. It can be a lot longer. I'm going to insert my logos. So I've got a digital solutions one here somewhere. There we go. Whack you down here. Then I'm going to grab the business station logo. They've got it a little bit further down in my collection. There we go. So it's got the old ASBAS logo on it. So I just need to close that up here. So you can do that with any sort of photos. You can sort of trim it. So you know you have the part that you need. So I've now got that. I can pull that across to the middle. And now I'm going to put a little bit more detail about what it is. I'm also going to put a little prompt called sound on. Now, sound on is something I want to be able to prompt someone on their device to make sure they've got the sound up to hear what it is I'm talking about. Now, they may not do it. A lot of people don't, but you know, I'm prompting them to do it anyway. So I'm going to put sound on up here where it's visible as a prompt and it's moving so that I can let them know, please turn your sound up so you'll be able to hear what's going on in this thing. And I could add a little bit more detail in there about what the thing is. So I can say online. There we go. It's just operating a little bit slower because I've got a lot going on the computer at the same time. Look down where I can actually see what I'm writing. And I can fix up that text just by playing with some line spacing. As you can see, I use Canva very heavily every day. So I've got every little thing I know where it is and how to use it. I can even maybe, whack this down here and move these along. Now, I've now got pretty much a complete video. So if I go back to the beginning of this, I can play this out and see what it looks and sounds like and how it moves. So hopefully this will come through the microphone. Hi, I'm Dante St. James. I hope you'll join me for my online sales class, which is all about people who work in retail, in hospitality, in food and beverage, and in travel kind of industries. It's going to be especially made for you so you can understand the process of sales online for your industry. It's this Thursday at 12 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. If you're in WA, that's going to be at 10. So what I can do now is I go, well, I don't want to hear just my voice. I want to hear a bit of music. Thankfully, Canva has that too. Some of it's free. A lot of it's on the Pro, and I've got a bit of a special gift for you later on when it comes to Pro on Canva. I'm going to pick out a piece of music. Let's just see something which fits maybe under a cloud. That's not too bad. It's kind of sad though. I think I may need something a little bit brighter. Some is vocal too, so that's no good for us when it's vocal because that's like definitely not right. I think I used something like Empire before. Yep, that's nice and bright and cheerful. So I'm going to click on that. What it does, it's going to install it down the bottom here. So down the bottom where I've got this, and now it's timed itself out to the length of the video. Unfortunately though, once I've got this in and I try to play it back, and I'll bring my video over here so you can hear it, my microphone over here so you can hear it. It's not going to sound great with my voiceover because, let's have a go. Hi, it's Dante St. James. I hope you'll join me for my online sales class, which is all about people who work in retail, in hospitality, in food and beverage. So what I want to do is turn that volume down on that a little bit and just go click on the voice, on the music, go up the top here, and I've got the control for volume. So I'm going to turn, it's not fitting right in my screen, but there we go. So I turn that volume down to maybe about there, and I can play that back and it's going to be much lighter. So there's enough music in there to make it feel great, and then it's going to work and it's not going to overpower it. So once I download that as a video, what it'll do, now at the end here, you'll notice that the music, well, you may not be able to hear it, but the music cuts off rather abruptly. When I go to download this, Canva automatically fades out the end, so it doesn't sound so abrupt. So it's pretty good. So I can download this, and I've got a full video that's going to now produce itself as a full 2-camera explainer you can do straight away in there. Now, for the recording video, you don't need a paid account or a pro account with Canva. To use some of the music, you don't have to have necessarily a paid account. There's free music available to you. You just got to search in the audio for what's free. So you go free, and then apply the filters, and then it gives you all the free options. So all these guys here, so free except for the pro ones. Come on, give me the freebies. I don't want to see the pros, and I just want to see instrumental. Apply the filters, and it's, oh, these are my recently used. So all the ones that are free to use, if it goes, maybe happy. No, it's not giving me any free ones. There's not a lot of free stuff there. So that's okay, because you can add your own music and upload it if you want. Just don't do any copyrighted stuff, because you're going to get pinged for that. In the videos, same thing. If I wanted to add a little bit more video in there, say for instance, an excited video, if I was trying to get people excited about something, I could show, this guy here, he's going to be very excited and jumping up and down. So I could put like a little video, picture-in-picture video anywhere in here. And then you can add all these kind of little extra features if you want to. So now my video is downloaded. So to open that up, that will now be a full MP4 video. So I'll just have to drag that over on the screen and reshare the screen for you to see it. But just trust me on that. It produces a full video in that, and actually ramps down or fades out the sound at the end of the file. So that is an explainer video. So if we're not doing an explainer video, we're doing something else. Let me just bring that back up my screen. We're then moving on to the next thing, which is my slow computer just trying to catch up with everything here. It's a lot going on in this computer at once with video. So we go from then turning static graphics into video. This is probably the easiest thing you'll do, simply because it's a very core part of what Canva does. So we'll pop out again and pop into our Canva screen. And this time I'm going to close that video and create another thing. We're going to create just, let's just create a Facebook graphic. So looking under Facebook, looking for event cover post, a Facebook post, that'll do. So it gives me the right size for a Facebook post that will fit on all different devices. So it's not quite a square, but very close to it. So it's not going to have those horrible bars either side of it. And now what we're going to do is just say, okay, if I grab any old template in here, let's just say you're a real estate agent, we're going to sell house. So I've got a very just basic included template that comes with all this, but I don't want it to just sit here. I want it to actually move and do something. What I can do is make this photo of the house move. So if I tap on that and then I click animate, I can make that do a photo zoom. So the actual photo inside it is going to zoom like that. So it's immediately given motion, and it means now I've gone from creating just a simple graphic to now a motion, a video. The same thing, I can go to any of these elements and tell them to animate. So in this case, I'm going to make this animate to, so it's going to, let's make it rise or pop. So pop is good. So I've made it pop. So at the same time as popping, the video in the background is zooming out as well. And I might make this little brown thing. I'm going to make that pop out from the side. I'm going to make it what they call pan, like this. And the top, the little brown thing, I'm going to make that do something as well. Let's make that go baseline. So now as I watch it over a 5-second animation, I've taken a static graphic and I've turned this into a video. Something's moving, something that's going to get a lot more attention than just simply a plain static graphic. And video just always wins. The other thing I can do in here now, I've created this, I can create a second scene. So I've got this first scene. I can now add another page. And in this other page, I can then create maybe this one. So it's the second scene of a video that's going through. So see how it's gone up to 10 seconds at the top. It used to be 5 just for this. So I'm going to do the same thing from here. I'm going to animate the different items. So I'm going to make that rise. I'm going to make dream home pop. I'm going to make all these words do something. So I'm going to make them animate. I'm going to make those, let's make them neon so they flash. So now I've got a second one. So I've turned 2 static graphics now into a 10-second video. If I wanted to go further, I just add another page and look for some more options here. So I can go, okay, now there's an open house. I can initially just replace that house with something else. So I'm going to put a house. Let's just make, there's not a lot of houses that don't look like they're American here. So let's have an inside of a house. So what I might want to do is make the photo flow. So it's going to make it sort of move down like that, or I can make it rise. So the photo will rise. I can then make open house pop. And then this little swish thing here, I can make that sort of neon as well. So the whole thing becomes a motion video now that gets attention much better. If you want to open up with something which had something like, I can play this whole thing. So I'll play the whole thing over 15 seconds. So now you've got a moving video that goes in that scene now through to the second scene, and it transitions out by those animations repeating themselves. See, so it gives you a nice flow between each scene. That's now a 15-second video that you can do any which way you like. Now I could just as easily just convert this into the other, but I just use what was available really quickly to do. As another example of how to do this, you can actually add motion without animations, just simply by going, let's go Facebook ad. We're going to pick out a photo of, let's just say a photo of a woman at work. So I'm going to get this photo of this woman at work. And that's just a plain static photo. There's nothing moving. There's nothing going on there. So we need to do something to make that move. So I'm going to pop into my elements. In the elements, I can look for something such as now open. So let's just say she's opened a cafe. She's just now opened a cafe. So we can see now open. That's great. I can see a whole lot of things in here. Shop now, now serving. I'm seeing a few moving things. What I can do with all this is now add this moving element. So I can add this on, let's put it somewhere where it can actually be seen, like on her laptop. Turn it around slightly so it fits the area it's going into. So immediately now, this is converted to a 6-second video because it takes 6 seconds to cycle through this. I can also then make things animate. So the background, I can make it animate by making it breathe. Now, breathe is a really great one because it just adds, that's that. It just adds a little bit of motion in the background. That's not too much. And then we can add some more text. Let's actually make a logo. So finding some logos here. Let's go pick one out, preferably not something like Starbucks, or it wouldn't be a good idea for them. Let's go logo coffee. Actually, I just saw a really hipster looking thing down here. There we go. So you can have a hipster logo. And I'm going to go turn that to white, and I'll show you in a minute why I'm taking it to white, even though it's really not that visible. But I've got a plan. Stag coffee, because like stags seem to be a thing that hipsters like. I don't know why. Let's go 1 point of that letter space. So that's how I bring those letters much closer together. So again, I'll just show you that's here, and then the line spacing will actually draw your stuff closer together. So I'm going to bring that in so it fits in there, make that also white. And because I can't really read what's going on now, everything's in white, I'm going to take the background image by clicking on it, and I'm going to edit it. Edit image, and then I'm going to remove the brightness a bit. Just there we go. Suddenly Stag Coffee is a lot more readable. I'll just get a quick coffee, just coffee graphics. Let's see what we can find. A little cup of coffee. There's beans. Beans are always a coffee thing, aren't they? So straight away, we've made a little video that's just going to get that little bit more attention than what a plain graphic on its own would get, because it's now got something that's actually flowing and moving. So if I downloaded that now, it's a 6-second video. I can do all sorts of other things to that. I can even now add another page to that. So we've got a second page to it. So I can get this little drawing of a coffee cup. Wait till it comes up any second now. Should. Come on. It's taking its time. I'm using a lot of memory on this computer at the moment. Let's call that South Brisbane's new coffee lovers destination. And so we're now starting to create a little bit more of a video ad. So this might be what she uses on her screens in her cafe. So she's got something showing on the screens, or she might, have like a presentation flying over and over again. I don't know why this has not come up, probably because I've got the wrong color on it. There we go, much better. Now you can see it. So now I've got an 11-second video. So I play that 11-second video. It's got this, it's got the breathe in the background, the logo coming up saying they're now serving, pops over to South Brisbane's new coffee lovers destination, and it's got motion in it as well. So we're immediately taking away that static and turning it into something moving. Rosie just asked to clarify, what shape do you suggest using if you want to use your file across different programs, Insta, LinkedIn, and website, or do you save in different shapes? That's a very good question, Rosie, actually, because I do save in different shapes depending on what I'm doing. But overall, when you're making a video, you can't go wrong with just doing a square. So if you just do, say, an Instagram post of 1080 by 1080, that will work on just about everything you do. Now on your website, it may not, because people are experiencing your website in lots of different ways. They might be experiencing on a desktop or on a mobile, but I just look at your analytics to see how many people are on desktop. Even so, if they're on a desktop on your website, a square video is going to still work for you the same way that a landscape one would. But if you feel like doing it in every shape, you can. But I'd probably go with the square. Square is probably the easiest one to work with. Great question, though. Thank you. Really appreciate that. It's often something I forget is that, yeah, there's lots of different formats you can use. Now, next up, let's go into, where are we? We're up to making TV ads. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because TV ads require very special formatting. They require a very special way of encoding what you do for television. So there's certain standards you have to reach. It has to have 0.5 of a second, so half a second of silence at the beginning and the end. So you can't have 30 seconds of sound. You've got to have some at the beginning and some at the end that's not making any sounds. And there's also a very specific file format and way it's got to be sent. So what I usually do is I create my new design. I'm not by TikTok. Let's go back one. There we go. I create a new design called video. I record a voiceover using the video. So I often record my my video just in something like a Adobe Audition, or what's the other one called? I completely blank. Audacity, which is a free audio recording piece of software that you can then, so I get my voiceover correct there first before bringing it in. Though I'm going to show you how to do your voiceover into Canva straight away. Bill just asked, is a laptop or iPhone camera sufficient to record videos, or is it best to purchase dedicated camera to record videos? Depends on what you're doing, Bill. If you're producing stuff for television, I did television stuff by just using, like, talking to camera using a 1080p Logitech external camera. Now I find that the 720p of my MacBook Pro isn't enough. That's standard definition for TV, but because I'm doing TV or big screens that I want to be able to talk to, then I want to make sure I'm using a good quality camera. So I use the, I'll get you the model number. I'll just use a Logitech C922, and it's a pro streaming webcam. So it's a little bit brighter. It'll get a lot more brightness through the camera. So you see, like, it's very bright. It lets in a lot more light than what a laptop camera does. iPhone cameras are brilliant though, because iPhone cameras have a lot of extra stuff into them. So I wouldn't be using the selfie camera. So you're not going to see what you're doing. Use the rear camera to recording, because then you've got a really, really high quality video coming through, and a lot more depth of field is able to be captured, and a lot more light, because they've got sensors at the back that actually let light in. Whereas the sensors on the front of an iPhone or an Android phone, isn't quite going to be enough. But the more expensive and the better and the more depth of actual physical lenses that your camera has, obviously the more light that's going to get in and the more detail that's going to be captured. So you can use a digital SLR, but I think if you're doing a lot of this for just social media, I don't think you really need one. Yes, sure, all the pros and the the super influencers and all that, they are using DSLRs because that's their living. That's what they do for a living. I don't do it for a living. I do a lot of webinars for a living. So I did invest in a $150 webcam, but I don't think you need to go into, the thousands of a DSLR camera. You don't really need that. And for the microphone, I think people are a lot more forgiving of bad audio, a bad video than what they are a bad audio. So I use I'll show you on the camera if you can see it in the little camera. It's a Shure microphone. This one's a $400 one. So I did whack a bit of money in this, but again, that's my living. So I'm going to do it. You don't have to get something like that. I've got a couple of other ones that I'll drag out of my drawer here. This little guy is called a Samson, and I call it the little grenade because every time I go through an airport, they make me pull it out of my bag because it looks like a grenade. So this little guy, I'll just stop sharing my screen so you can see. This cost me about $75, I think it was. So it's a little guy here, and that's one I can use for going interstate. So when I go interstate, it's a lot better than the microphone on my MacBook or on my PC. I can put it down and talk to it. But what I usually do if I'm doing a voiceover, I just hold it close to my mouth, but just sort of off to the left. And that's if I'm doing a voiceover or something I'm recording. But if I'm doing a webinar, it sits down out of sight, so you can't necessarily see it. But the one I'm using now, the Shure microphone, that's the best microphone I've ever had. It's brilliant. If you're also looking for something a bit better quality that's going to fit in like a bag that you can take with you if you need to take stuff with you, the Rode Mini USB mic, this guy, is also very good. So this is another one I take on the road for when I'm traveling. This is about $150, so it's a little bit more expensive, but it's still like a great microphone. I've got the full size Rode as well. I go through microphones like some people go through underwear. I take them everywhere. They get very, very damaged along the way. But this particular microphone I'm using right now, the Shure microphone, is it's a podcaster's microphone. It's made to work with computers so that you will sound the best you can possibly sound without being in a studio environment. And then of course, because I'm in a very echoey room, I use a thing called Crisp, KRISP, which I use for recording getting all the background noise out. So you cannot hear, there's a very noisy beeping sound that's happening across the road from the reversing trucks in a great big pit where they're building a new university campus. So it's very noisy, but you can't hear that because I'm using that filter that actually makes that go out. So there's some of the ideas you can use for that. So let's get back to sharing my screen, and we'll go into making something like a television ad. Now, the TV ad that I made was all about a group called Territory Proud. And I'm just going to see if I can find that video for you and play it back, because it actually was an example of having to make a television quality, here it is here, a television quality video, but in 25 minutes. I had literally 25 minutes to have to make this because I'd forgotten to do it earlier in the week. So as it loads up this video, and I'll play it back so you can hear it. This is actually, as is going to going to the television station to be used as a TV ad. And not bad, I made it in 25 minutes. It will take me a further maybe 20 to 30 minutes to get it encoded into commercial TV format, and then all the normal stuff you have to do with getting it approved. So I'll just whack this on so you can see how I made this.
When you buy Territory Proud, you're supporting local businesses. You're supporting local communities. You're supporting local jobs and local families. That's because Territory Proud businesses also support local businesses, also support local communities, also support local jobs, and also supporting local families. Find a Territory Proud business at territoryproud.com.au.
So that's an actual television ad that's going to be used, and it was made in Canva. In fact, here it is in Canva, and you can see all the pieces of it, of how I've actually put that together. Now, you say a lot of that came to the quality of the stock of the video that I was using in the background. All this video, now, Northern Territory is not a big jurisdiction in population. We don't have a lot of people. Brisbane, there's actual like suburbs in Brisbane that had more people than are in the Northern Territory. So I was very surprised to find just how many pieces of stock footage that were actually available in Canva's stock footage library. So you can find all that as well. If we to close down a few windows here because we're using quite a lot of memory on the computer and it's starting to protest a little bit at me, which is not very helpful. So let's go back in again. Canva. Close some more windows. Free up some memory. There we go. Might run a little bit smoother now. Okay, so I'm going to create a design. I'm going to call it a video. So immediately in video, it's going to create a 1920 by 1080, which is otherwise called 1080p, which is high definition. It's the high definition standard used for television, for broadcast television. Not 4K, because TV is not really doing 4K yet. Probably won't in the foreseeable future. It's kind of unnecessary. So what it does, gives me a timeline down the bottom for me to add whatever I like. So I can add anything like text, voiceover. So I'm going to do a bit of a voiceover here. Now there's no function to actually add a voiceover, but there is a function to add recording myself. And that's going to record a video of myself. Remember we did this before? So even though I've got the webcam coming through, I want it to just do the microphone. So I'll set my proper microphone so I get the best possible recording. Bring my microphone up here so it doesn't have to travel and work so hard. And I'll start recording. What does $44 buy? It can buy a couple of sandwiches at the shop or in a fancy place at least. It could buy you a cheap electronic gadget. Or it could buy you 7 hours of really high quality digital solutions, advisory and class service. What will you buy with your $44? So now that I've recorded that, it's going to insert into my video. And then what I'm going to do with this video, I'm going to make the video disappear because I don't need the video part. I don't need the video part. I just need the voiceover. So to do that, I take this video and I take the opacity or transparency here, and I'm going to make it invisible. Boom, it's gone. There is now no longer anything in there. So I can then start to add other photos in over the top of it. So I want to use this photo, add in the $44. Now, normally what I would do, I wouldn't use Canva to record. I'd usually record it elsewhere because what that's done now is giving me a timeline. I can't add a second video timeline in there. I can only have the one video timeline in there in Canva, which is, it's fine, but it just makes it a little bit limiting. So I usually pull in my voiceover from somewhere else. If I go to my uploads and look at my audio, and I go, here you go, I've got the Territory Proud voiceover here. So I've already recorded that elsewhere. So instead of using this one, that's just a trick to do like if you wanted to do a voiceover over something which was like another video, for instance. But if I want to do it as this, I'll grab my voiceover. Oops, just click it, Dante. There we go. So I've got a 23.2, bit longer. Let's take this out a bit longer because it's actually a full 30-second ad. So there, it goes to around about there. So that's where it ends. So now that I've got that, I've got all this room here now to create different parts of the video. So I can, first of all, in this section, I'm going to take it down a little bit. Just make it sort of run for about 2.5 seconds. I can grab a video. So let's just say we're not in the territory, we're in Brisbane as an example. So I can look for video of Brisbane. So there's videos here of Brisbane, of clouds flying overhead. Let's try that. Make it in here. Come on, we can do it. My computer's not really reacting very fast today, so it's actually quite annoying. So it should. Come on, guys. Try this again. There we go. Now I've got my video in the background. So I can put then my $44, expand it a bit. And then I've got the beginning of a TV ad.
Supporting local businesses.
So what I might do is just very quickly just record something separately on another program, which I call Adobe Audition. So it's part of the Adobe Creative Suite. You might want to use Audacity. In fact, Audacity is free. I should use that as the example. So I'll just share a different screen so you can see what I'm doing. We go Audacity, which is now opening. So when we do live demos, everything just is at risk of either working or crashing and failing miserably. And today my computer it's just not happy. So we go desktop number 3, share. Okay, so I'm going to record in here something. So I'm not going to record through MacBook Pro. I'm going to record through Crisp. Hopefully you've still, let's see if you've still got my audio now, if it's working. Okay, let's see if my audio is coming through. Bill, can you just tell me in the chat whether that's working for you? So I'm playing with a lot. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. Okay, so now I've got that back in. So I can now play with this. So record myself a video, an audio. You may lose my audio while I'm doing this, though. What can you buy with $44? A dinner out for one? Maybe a cheap electronic item? Or a gift for someone's birthday? How about the gift for yourself? The gift of knowing how to use your business in a better way, to learn how to use digital tools to make your business grow. At businessstation.com.au, you can register for just $44 for 7 hours of advice and classes. Now that's worth paying. I just had to make that up off the top of my head, so it's a little bit rough. So let's just take it. I'm going to transfer this over, export it to file. Sorry, you can't see the screen I'm working this on, but it won't be a second. So what I'm going to do now is upload that audio I just did. So upload media, this one here, and I'm going to slice that one in. So I don't want this one anymore. I want that one gone. And I now want this one. So this is the new audio I just did. So I can start off with the lovely overhead of something from Brisbane. What can you buy with $44? A dinner out for one? So now I've got the voiceover in. I can time things out to where that voiceover is. So it's a little bit hard to see down there. So I'll zoom in so you can see the waveform of the video. So I know that the first part of the video ends around here. So what can you buy with $44? So I'm just going to reduce that scene of Brisbane down to that bit. Now I'm going to have another bit of video sliced in that I'm going to have as something for, I don't know, let's just say it's somebody who is at work, or what was it, dinner. So I'm going to have a video of dinner. So the video dinner could be a dinner out. I want to see one that looks fancy. That looks fancy. So I've now got dinner. So let's hear it. That dinner looks very fake. $44. A dinner out for one? So I can cut down that video now to that length. So now if I play from the beginning, I can go, what can you buy with $44? A dinner out for one? So it's now in time with it. So now what we can do is, that just is a terrible looking fish. There's now a transition you can put between those. So in the plus here in between, so I'll zoom in again so you can see it. In the plus, you can add a transition. So I'm going to add a transition of, let's see what they've got. A dissolve, a slide, a circle wipe, a line wipe. Dissolve is a smooth one. That's the one I usually use because these look a bit, the slide could probably work. So let's just try that and see what it looks like. What can you buy with $44? A dinner out for one? So that's not too bad. We can do that. So I'll slice that out a bit more, make this go a little bit longer so it fits. So then we continue right along by adding more and more of these little guys here until we fill in what's going to match with these spaces where there's words. So now the next lot of words are maybe a cheap electronic item. So I'm going to look for a cheap electronic item. Now I'm going to make it half myself. I'm going to make it gadget. Is there a video of some gadgets? Yeah, there's some gadgets here. There's a kid. Let's just put him in there. Come on, buddy. In you go. Again, the computer is just not keeping up with me today. Let's fill you up. So the cheap electronic gadget, if I want to zoom in again, click on I can see the cheap electronic gadget, zoom in, goes to about there. So again, I can put in another transition. I'm going to have it dissolve this time. So you now see I've got 3 scenes.
What can you buy with $44? A dinner out for one? Maybe a cheap electronic item? Or a gift for someone's birthday?
So as you see, just keep adding those scenes on until the very end, and then at the final, then you can have something like a logo arising in at the end. So like I had with the Territory Proud one, to give you an idea of the kind of videos you can create on Canva. I'm not going to work with that one much more because that was kind of like a bit of a sample. I've actually made a far more complex one, which is now my ad that's running on Facebook at the moment. So this one has a lot of moving parts and a lot of had music in it. It's got a lot. It's actually really well timed. And it took me probably about 40 to 45 minutes to make, so it wasn't really that long at all. As you can see, I do a lot of stuff on Canva. So this one here, I'll play back for you so you can see. This is what you can do when you spend a little bit of time learning the tool and how it all actually works. So hopefully, if this loads enough, I can play it, and it's going to come up really well. Just waiting for the rest of it to load. Stop that spinning wheel. Here we go. Let's try it. So I made that timing with the music where there's no voiceover in it, and that's just something that's got enough motion in it that's supposed to create some attention. It grabs attention with the 2021 as being rough, and I'm getting tons and tons of views on that one because I chose something which, although most people won't hear the sound, they'll see the motion. If they see the 2021 as being rough, yeah, we know that gets attention. And a little kid getting up and trying to walk, well, and then getting people going, oh, that's so cute, so they'll actually sit there and watch it. And of course, I've made sure that particular ad is targeted at a very, very specific kind of people who would be appealed, who would have some sort of appeal to that. So finally, before we go, I'm just going to very quickly show you the basics of creating something like a TikTok. Now, TikToks, you can go find a TikTok thing. It'll actually give you the right shape for it, which is basically the same shape as Instagram Reels or an Instagram story or a Facebook story. It's all the same. It gives you the shape, and it gives me a video format down here to work with. Now, what they give you to start with is a whole lot of things that you can start with, like magazine covers, ad formats, a lot of motion stuff that might be really good for you. So you can go yes or no and have a question that goes something like, if we look at this. So it just does these little motions, and I can add in a little bit more. Maybe let's put in some background of Brisbane. And so you've got something which is moving, so you can prompt reactions from people up to 15 seconds. Although TikTok these days goes up to a minute, so you can add more scenes on the end of this. So what it does allow you to do is have lots of motion that keeps people engaged. So if I look at even some more things, look, we can have that. I don't even know what that is. It's just like some sort of flowing paint in water or something like that. Or you can find any sort of thing that you can decide that's going to get some sort of attention and movement. Generally, like big swirling movements. So if I look for some abstract video, I can find some things that like sort of swirl and move around and sort of really grab attention. So this, I don't know if that's a photo. That's just a photo. So I want videos. Abstract videos include things like motion graphics like this. So that'll move in the, no, not that, this. There you go. So you got more kind of motion in the background that can then start to, you know, it just draws the eye over to you. So anything that's going to grab a bit of attention, that's what you want in your background. And then you can put like voiceover, you can put any sort of video you've taken on your phone. So if you want to do all those sort of like wipe effects that people do, where they sort of like, one of the hot ones right now is to put your hand to the camera and then uncover, and then you've got something different behind it. So you start off here, I am wearing this shirt, then boom, pull back, and then I'm wearing a different shirt. So you do that first by recording it on your phone, then you put that into Canva as the video. So you upload it as video, upload media, and then you'll be able to insert it in. And you can add any sort of effects, stickers, elements. If I want to look for things like subscribe, If you want people to subscribe to something, they've got videos of subscribe that will spin around that you can insert in there. If I want to look for just graphics, and then up here, if I want to make that animated, then apply the filter, and then I've got all these subscribe buttons and things I can put in there. So I can, maybe this guy here. So then got some stuff to work with in things like TikTok stories even. You don't have to necessarily work with it, but the idea is here that you can graduate from just making canvas static graphics to now making really impressive videos that are going to make a big difference in getting attention for you, whether you're using TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or even making whole YouTube videos. You can make a 1 hour long video on this thing. I generally now import my videos from here into here to create my YouTube video. So you've got a beginning and an end for them, so that then they've got a good introduction, and they're just repurposed from my webinars. So you can do it. So what I want to do is introduce you to a bit of something different, a bit of a special gift that I've been able to source for you. Just because you're on this call, and you're probably, if you're watching on YouTube, this will be available for a limited time, is a 45-day free trial of Canva Pro. So you will be able to use this if you don't have Canva Pro currently on your current account, or you can set up a new account. This is for my friend Rebecca, who we've done some training together in New South Wales when I was doing a Facebook training conference, and she was the Canva representative there too. So she was showing people how to use Canva video tools. She's a bit of my go-to when I need to know how to do something that's a bit more advanced. So if you go to that address, rebeccaflint.com/Canva, you can then register to get, they usually got 30 days free on Pro. This will give you 45 days. So you've got to make sure it's an account that you haven't already done a free trial on of Pro. So just set it up on maybe on a new one, do it under that one. It'll give you 6 weeks, pretty much 45 days of access to Canva Pro. So you can really, make sure you're using the best that you possibly can of it. And if you get like me, you'll get to the point where you go, you know what, I'm just going to pay for this thing because I'm literally in there a couple of dozen times a day making stuff. So I want to get access quickly to all the things I want to, including this presentation. All my presentations are no longer done on PowerPoint. They're done on PowerPoint. So just quickly ending up, $44 I was talking about in that video I was making, now gets you the new digital solutions program. 3 hours of one-to-one guidance with myself or one of my my fellow advisors. It gives you 4 hours of webinars and workshops as part of your learning plan. And then once you're done, you've got access to all these things. You've got access to all the webinars and all the workshops afterwards, whether they're on YouTube or whether you want to do them live like this one has been as well. There is now, get this right, 56 of these things happening every month. 56 different webinars, workshops, online workshops, in-person workshops, particularly in Brisbane and in Perth, and we're going to have something in Darwin coming soon as well. So just get involved in it if you haven't already. If you have been part of the previous ASBAS Digital Solutions program, you may or may not qualify, but just apply anyway, because chances are they'll put you through. And if you want to work specifically with me, just request me by name or any of the advisors that you've worked with before, whether it's Sarah or Kasia or Renee or Liam, all those amazing people, all 3 places where we do this program: Queensland, Western Australia, and the Northern Territory. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's been a lot of fun. Doing a live demo sometimes a bit scratchy, but you seem to cope really well with that. My email address and my follows are on screen. LinkedIn's the best place to get hold of me, to be honest. If you want to chat with me there, always love a chat on LinkedIn. I'm very, very active on there. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your businesses to work on your business, because I know it can be a really hard thing to do, but you're doing it, and I thank you for that. And I'll hopefully see you in the next one.